And we are live. Lots has changed in the last 48 hours. Well, everything's changing around the world at this pace. And recently, the Fed announced their cuts, and pretty much now they're at 0%. Money's free for certain people in the group, as Haseeb said. So I got my good friend Haseeb Awan on the show. He's written about these topics in the past, talking about the Fed cuts, UBI, economic policies, etc. So Haseeb, I'll kind of put this over to you. um, what where do we go from here? Like, what is the repercussions of the Fed cutting the rates down to zero?
So I think they have done it too quickly. I think they should basically focus on like getting like let's fix this issue, right? The biggest issue is that this virus is spreading like anything. We can't stop. So first is to stop this. Like it's really funny. Like they're focused on how can we fund the banks rather than how can we get everyone tested. How can you provide medical? Like medical system in Canada is bad, but like medical system in US is like worse. So I'll give you example. Uh, so for people who know, I'm a Canadian American, but I'm also Pakistani, and I fly to Pakistan to get myself treated to come back. That's how worse it is. Appointment takes so much time, so we have to focus on how can you provide medical system to ordinary people. What this has also introduced is to how vulnerable we are to any kind of future threat. Like hypothetically, it was made in a laboratory, or even if it's not, it can be possibly made in a lab. And now, can we just screw up the entire system? So just to give you example, like in US, I think they said they have like 13,000 ventilators only, and they need at this pace they need like 250,000 of them. So we are short by like maybe we only have like 5% of the capacity right now. So I don't see like man, my sister's a doctor, right? I was talking to her and she was telling me like people are just rushing to the hospital for anything. So they may have like a small sneeze and they say we want to get tested for coronavirus, right? But at the same time, there are people who say we have coronavirus and they are not getting tested. So I think this is a chance for the government to say, hey, let's empower private, small and medium businesses, entrepreneurs who can basically take over the health system and make it red tape, less red tape. It's so much complicated to get your drug, uh, it's too much complicated to get yourself trusted, get yourself tested in US, man. It's so expensive, too complicated, and healthcare is a mess right now. So first of all, we have to fix this basic thing, healthcare, right? Second thing about UBI, I know you and I have spoken to about, we don't need to. Let's talk about how can we fix this red tape? Make it simple for healthcare. Don't have too much regulations. Getting approval for FDA right now is a pain. It takes like maybe ages. So entrepreneurs cannot get to it because bigger companies have set up so much lobbying that this thing cannot get approved. So if I came up with something, it will take me ages to get it approved. So innovation is only in the hand of few. So it has to be open. Second thing is banking. I'll give you example. Like yes, the rates have decreased, but if you're already paying mortgage, it doesn't impact you because you already unlock in a rate. So who takes that 1% benefit? It's the banks who take the benefit. So the bankers get bailed out. What about the business on the street? The small guys who run a truck, they don't get any benefits. So how do we take care of those people? Also about we all take care of we are doing things that we never did in the past. Like I said, I never experienced this in the past. Like, I don't know. I mean, have you ever seen something like this in the past?
The virus?
No, like something like this situation, like people are this much scared.
Well, our grandparents, they lived through the Spanish flu.
Yeah, but I'm talking about you, right? Specifically you.
No.
Yeah, because Spanish flu was at that time there was no social media, there was no WhatsApp, there was no everything was so controlled, right? People don't used to travel as often they do today. So we have some advantage. You have more technology, so we can spread the word around. But at the same time, people are flying across the world, so it's very hard to contain each other. I was talking to someone. What if someone in my neighborhood cannot get out because he's sick, or he's he may have a virus, or maybe, but he doesn't have an option but to get out? How do you protect those people? So as a society, we have to fix a lot of these things.
But what do you think what do you think the downstream effects right now of the 0% cut will be to the economy?
Man, this is going to. I won't be surprised if they cut it down to 5%, -5%. To be honest, I totally expect that will happen. They have to give out money to everyone. Else people will be on the street. Like there are a lot of restaurants. Like think about it. You don't have money right now. Like you put it down to 0%, the market didn't react. Like we're still bleeding money. Even we had a circuit. Like we had a market circuit breaker today. It may happen tomorrow. So it's getting worse and worse day by day. And
well, don't you agree the reason why it's really bad is because of the quantitative easing they did in 2008? Like if you look at the stock to earning ratios and at the incline of the stock market, whether it's the S&P or the Dow, just look pre-circa 2008, post-circa 2008, and you see the incline of the stock market. So it's all inflated stocks. They're getting really cheap money from the government back then, or the central bank, whatever, same thing. And it's stock buying. They're buying their own stocks back. So pretty much they're getting back in the was like 2-3% loan, buying their stocks. And so right now we're dropping. There's some saying they might even drop below 10,000 points the Dow. And so for me, where I'm more interested in is like now it's 0%. The only where we're gonna go from here. They've used all their ammunition. I can't even talk to ammunition. I can't even talk today. And what they're gonna go negative yield interest rates? Like what other tools they have? I think the central bank has done. They don't have any more tools.
Yeah, I think so. This is what I think. Like they have played their cards too early. They should have focused on mitigating the risk first and then stimulating the economy. So right now it's like if the jar is leaked, regardless of whatever water you put in, it will get leaked. So first of all, fix the hole and then filling the water. This is just like I think like UBI may come a reality sooner than later, where everyone get an income. We should go into subsidized housing, like everything is paid by the government. Because the problem is people will be out in the street. So other tool they can also do is they can also waive off the interest rate. You don't have to pay interest rate for like specific amount of time. That maybe they can do it, right? They can issue more loans, right? That's what they can do. Other than that, they can make job easier for like Medicare, like Medicare kind of thing, where everyone gets free medical. But pretty much it will be like, hey, everything is free. That's how we are going towards. There's no really, because the issue is that we don't know what's going to happen in the next 6 months. What if everyone's sick? Right, everyone right now is in pain right now. So unless you have a clarity, it will be like changes on hourly basis.
I view it in more in a pessimistic way, though. Like I view it as the fact that they are pretty much printing money as much as they want. You can give out UBI as much as you want. You can give money to people directly, like helicopter airdrops.
Yeah.
But at what point does inflation hit?
Oh, inflation has already started hitting. Like people. Like they announced $1.5 trillion, right? And every time you ask them, hey, can we provide you this? Can you provide this? And we don't have money. And $1.5 trillion out of nowhere. Obviously, it's the market, and if I have $1, basically there's more dollars. So supply is same, but demand is so supply. There's more supply of money right now, so it will inflate. It will just help the bankers. Only the banker, then top dogs. Average consumer will get fucked more to the bailout, because he doesn't get a share of $1.5 trillion. It will not impact you and me. It will actually impact, but it will impact in a negative way.
So what do you think is going to happen with pre-existing mortgages? Like it's the same repeat. Like if you look at the bonds today and if you look at the mortgage insurance, we're almost exactly the same position we were in 2008. The whole fucking giving out cheap mortgages to anybody that has a fucking first name and last name.
Yeah, I think so, and I think it will become even worse right now. It will because like at that time we were not afraid of meeting with each other, but right now people don't even want to meet with each other, right? And that basically this different culture shift. Like we used to say, united we stand, divided we fall, but it's obviously like united we fall, divided divided we stand. So that's what it is. So mortgage will become easy. It will be like right now in US you have to have 3.5%. To buy a house. You can also buy a 0, but 3.5% like regular FHA mortgage. They may reduce it to like, hey, we'll give it for free. Whatever house you live, you can own a house for cheap. And it will inflate the prices of housing. But ultimately, unless and until like some kind of like basics are fixed, giving out free money will only delay the problems. Like as you mentioned, like everyone can get $1,000, but if everyone is richer by $1,000, it doesn't fix anything. So I'm not a fan of socialism, but we need some kind of a, like some kind of marriage between socialism and capitalism at this point of time, where we need to help people who are actually in pain right now, not because they have bad habits, just that they are in trouble right now. They want to cut down their businesses.
They should just do what Milton Friedman said: give us a negative income tax credit. They don't have to print nothing. It's just a fucking IOU.
Yeah, that's right. Like, or maybe go back to the actual where everything is backed by gold.
I've been fucking screaming this forever.
Yeah.
We need to go back to the fucking gold standard.
Yeah. Or gold, or like anything they pick up, right? I was hopeful about Bitcoins, but Bitcoin has been a disappointment so far too. Because yes, it's novel, but at the same time, it's very correlated to everything. People are scared right now. Like hash rates are dropping. We don't know what's going to happen and surprisingly, US dollar is increasing, which is very surprising. Like US dollar is actually strengthening day by day, even though
because it's liquidity is the name of the game right now. Cash is king at this moment because there's no price discovery. There's no trust within the markets. Yeah. All markets, futures, commodities, all the indexes. What people don't know, we're also having a big oil war as well. Like top barrel for oil, super fucking cheap. And so I'm more, I'm not too worried about people on the fucking top. I'm worried about like my brother or my sister that, have a job and they have bills to pay. It's like, what can they do in this circumstances? Like, how does this affect people right now with the tax cuts and the 0% interest? Like, what can people do today to protect themselves in the future?
Well, I think I said always have like kind of a multiple source of income. Always have like 3 to 4 months of income in hand. Now, for a lot of people, it's not possible, but that's like one thing you have to do. You have to keep reserves and never depend on your job, or like never buy a new car because you are a new job, right? So as an average person right now, so I'll tell you what I'm doing right now. So I'm looking at all my expenses and I'm started watching to expense what I'm leading right now. And if I don't get any income for the next, not even recurring, but if I don't get any income, how long can I last? And based on that, I've started talking to my employees and say, like, hey guys, this is the situation. What should we do? Either we bleed out for next 6 months, or we just say, hey, let's stop it today. So everyone is so supportive of this right now because this is not something that you have to explain to people. Like, we are all in pain. But I personally believe if this even continue for next 2 months, we may have a civil war.
Really?
Yeah, man. People think about when people are pulling out guns for toilet papers.
Yeah, but that's like the super mind. Those are like 1 in fucking 100 million. Those are like mentally ill individuals.
No. But like here, people are fighting over toilet papers in California, right? Like they need, like, you don't get toilet paper, you fight. Correct. Now think about, you don't get food. And US is very much pro-gun. Everyone pretty much have a gun.
Yeah, but the thing with the US, it has food supply self-sufficient to feed the entire population 3 times over.
Sorry, can you repeat?
The United States has food supply, internal self-sufficient food supply to feed the entire population 3 times over. It does not need any importing of any food.
That's correct, but that's what you and I know. And every person doesn't know that, right? Like, when people, it's also what you have to pay the bill. Like, what if your credit card is maxed out? You can't buy anything.
Well, if I was, I've never run for politics, but I would completely eliminate all credit card debt. Those are fucking vultures, man. 18%, 19%. They're fucking vultures.
I think that would be the best thing to do. Like, like eliminate all the credit card debt, eliminate all the interest because if it doesn't impact the current people, it doesn't make any sense at all. So, I think, as someone said, like, we don't have a food supply right now, but imagine if people stop working in the factories, right? You need like perishable food, like, you need vegetables, tomatoes, and they have to be, someone has to take them out of the farm and take it to the hotel. And what if they start implementing the curfew? Like, not everyone is supported. Like in California, I think we have one of the highest population of illegal immigrants who work day to day to make their ends meet. What if they don't get it there anymore? Like, how long will it take them to pull out their gun and start attacking people? Or, not just illegal, but legal too, like your credit card is maxed out. You can't buy anything. But think about it. How long will you go before you kill someone? And I think this will be just a matter of time, to be honest, if they don't act quickly. I think it's not a time to bail out the bigger dogs. It's time to like help people. And I like your suggestion of eliminating credit card debt. Okay, we start zero. We say, okay, everything you own, like
Yeah,
clean list.
but the reason why I say that too, people understand like how it goes with credit card debt is it's passed on to other debt collectors.
Yeah.
So you have, and they sell it for pennies on the dollar,
Hmm.
and it's already a write off for the credit card company.
Yeah.
It's written off.
Yeah.
And so you have these debt agencies. They might be the third in the line, fourth in the line, and they might be trying to get maybe like 5 cents on the dollar back.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not even worth it at that point. Just make it flush. That's it.
I think that would be something, but then all depends on like how much debt can a credit card company can let go. Like if government has to step in, like like I'll give you an example. If I have $10,000 debt, what's if you have $1 million debt? Should we be treated equal? Like should be there a point system where we say, okay, you can only get rid of like 100,000 in debt. Like if someone is paying you $500, it's equivalent to paying nothing. But I can tell you, trust me, man. Like I would not be surprised in within next 2 months as the situation continues, we will have people with guns on the street. Like
Yeah,
this
but
is,
what are they doing? Like, well, what's the purpose?
or they'll just find anyone with the food and take money and food away. It
And you
will
don't think so? You don't think so the military or cops would be involved?
man, they will get it. It will be civil war. That's what I'm saying. Like how many
Mm,
yeah. So this is this they will get involved, but like man, we don't have enough cost. Like because it's not one person is getting impacted. Like average American doesn't have $400 to cover their bills. Only $400. If
Canadians are the same.
yes, just $400 expense, right? Which means that they only have a buffer of 10 to 15% in their life. Only 10 to 15%. Now think about if you continue for maybe like 2 months, that's like 20% past. So I'll ask you a question. Like imagine, I mean, you don't have money, right? And the only thing you have is gun, and you see someone eating food on the street, and you're hungry for 5 days. You'll ask him, you'll beg him, but at the same time, if you feel that your kid is crying in the home, you may pick up your gun.
No, I just go hunting.
Yeah, but the thing is, not people take an easy path. Like this is what I just think that we are
This is
moving
why
forward.
this is why community is important. This is why
Uh,
you have a disconnect in society and people don't
Correct,
have.
correct. I think that's good too. Like since I have a very I'm a family man, my parents, and I'm very connected to them. But I'm talking about the general population. People are lonely right now. Like this may spark a lot of behavior that we never seen before in the life. Like people will start dying in the hospital. And I'm not trying to scare people, but I'm just telling you that this may happen. Someone has to come in, and the more afraid we are, the better, so we can react properly. If we take it too lightly, like there were like thousands of people in Disney World yesterday. Like, what the hell are they doing? Like, are they crazy? Like they don't understand. Like, this is happening, and I'm one of them. And people laugh at you, like when say, "Hey, you have to be careful," and they'll say, "Hey, YOLO, you only live once. Like if you have to
So
die."
here's a hypothetical scenario. The
Yeah,
only reason why this virus is a big threat
yeah,
is because of the infrastructure problems. Let's say hypothetically the infrastructure could handle. Let's say we had unlimited beds, unlimited ventilators. Another thing people don't understand is when you go, the ventilator is the only thing keeping you alive because you have fibrosis of the lungs.
yeah,
If you're one of the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
high levels of threat, and so they don't pretty much do anything else. They might give you some IVs, but they don't give you antivirals at the hospitals. They're not
yeah,
practicing any type of medicine. They're practicing very standard allopathic medicine, and they're waiting for a vaccine.
yeah.
Now, let's say the infrastructure did exist where we can create a shit ton of ventilators and beds, and we can combine better medical practices with like naturopathic care and
Yeah,
use antiviral and all these other things, right?
yeah,
Backed by science, obviously.
yeah.
There wouldn't be no scared. Like herd immunity then would be the beneficial way to go.
I think that's the right way. Like there are some projects on internet where they're saying that we will have open source ventilators, right? Like maybe they start training people just for this virus. He will train you for 1 week, but now you're specialist in coronavirus or finding
Yeah.
any. Like we have military. Like think about it. Everyone is supposed to get trained in Israel and a lot of countries for military action, right? They have to
Hmm.
be trained. But why don't we get trained for like being a doctor? Everyone should have mandatory training. Like anyone can be called upon to the hospital to help other people. Like right now,
they're doing that in Italy right now.
okay, that should be the way, right? And everyone should be trained. Like, we should have people in society like a reserve. We have reserve army, but we don't have reserve medical people. We don't have reserve like policemen. Like we should have a reserve for a lot of things. And we have a lot of enough young people who can help out and come in this situation. Like right now, I want to go to hospital and help. And I believe there are a lot of people on the internet who have much more information than any ordinary doctor, but they can't practice it because they don't have a license. So FDA and all those things, they have to say that, okay, we need to reduce any kind of barrier. Like think about a software developer. You don't need a degree for that. You need skills. Similar should be for doctors too. Like I know for surgeries and everybody, but in this situation, it should be like that. Yes, we'll make mistakes, but it's better than everyone dying in the street.
Listen, the reason why we're in this mistake is central planning. All mistakes happen from central planning. It goes against the very laws of nature. Laws of nature is grassroots and decentralized evolution. Central planning is you put your trust in a few fucking idiots to decide everything for everybody, for every aspect of civilization. And so the more that we can break apart centralized control and create decentralized choices and more experiments, the more better results we get. I mean, there's some people in stipulating, going back to the old school way in the United States, where you had private banks state by state issuing different currencies.
I think, but that was the entire promise of Bitcoin. Like we believe that Bitcoin and altcoin will be able to solve this problem. But humans, whenever they are entrusted with power, are generally very vulnerable to any kind of corruption.
Yeah, but what's wrong with Bitcoin? I think Bitcoin will shine in the next 3-4 years. This is exactly what Bitcoin was created for.
Oh, 100%. But the problem with the Bitcoin is the prices are dropping. And I believe the hash, like right now, if you have like $100 million, you can pretty much screw up the entire Bitcoin network right now.
Well, no, depends on, you can then just go on a different client. There's so many different safe key elements when it comes to the network.
Yeah, but if you understand, right now we are the smaller it is, the vulnerable it becomes. So it will. Let's see, because my bet is on Bitcoin right now. If Bitcoin fails, basically my hypothesis is.
But why would it fail?
Multiple things, the price drops to a level where miners cannot make it profitable, so they start taking off their equipment to a level where hash rate is so low that anyone can make a double spend or attack, have a 51 attack on Bitcoin. That's a very, very right risk right now. I think it's cost around, it will maybe in tens of $millions right now to attack Bitcoin. For other currencies, much lower. So that's one option. But if Bitcoin starts fluctuating, but one thing I like very good about Bitcoin, there's no circuit breakers. So basically, Bitcoin can go up and down as much as it wants. It doesn't have any kind of a bailout, so it's functional.
This is why Bitcoin has a value prop. It's 24/7 open market. It's censorship resistant.
Yeah.
And basically, it's portable and divisible. So the government they can come in and they can give you houses and they can give you money and airdrop like a helicopter, but that's all, they can seize all of that. It's not yours.
Yeah, but they can also see right now, majority of the equipment is in China. So a government can just basically go there.
That's changing a lot, man. North America has a shit ton of miners. Canada has a shit ton of miners. Like the actual spread of miners, because remember, the patents open up for a lot of these ASICs 2-3 years ago. The 7-nanometer chips, so the NVIDIA and what's the other company? The big graphics card. Not Asus. What's the other big graphics card company besides NVIDIA?
NVIDIA.
Anyways, this is the other one. I forget its name. They have the same 7-nanometer chips as well. So way more competition. You buying the ASICs are much cheaper than they were before. You're not just relying on one factory. And the cost of electricity around the world is getting, like, there's places right now you can get 2 cents a kilowatt. I saw. Like people are trying to go like.
Well, again, as I said, we will see, right? So obviously these are our wishes. My bets are on crypto too. So I'm like 90% crypto. I believe that crypto should shine, but there is factors. Like we have a halving, which is just around the clock. We are less than a year away from halving. When is the halving?
Oh, no, halving. We're like 2 months away.
Yeah, 2 months away. Sorry, yeah, it's like May, right?
Yeah.
So we are, and it will figure out if we I don't know what the price would be, but it should increase. If it doesn't, obviously, it does hurt the entire economic system behind Bitcoin. That, hey, now we have less number of bitcoins, but the price remained the same. So that's one thing I'm looking at. Coming back to the point of like circuit breakers and like this stock exchange was screwed up. Like stocks there should be no speculative trust. It should be all dividend based stock. The moment you make it to like speculative stocks, things go out of whack. Like right now in Toronto, you know that like house will go up and the rents are not going up. So
Yeah.
there'll be a time. So basically, it becomes a kind of a Ponzi scheme that everyone is flipping houses, buying house so they can flip house to someone else.
Well,
Like
I don't know how people are affording rent right now because like you want a decent spot in Toronto for rent, you're starting at 3K.
oh man, think about
Starting.
California. Oh, California, like you can't get a house for like less than a decent house for less than 5 grand, right? I'm not talking like you pay like a $3,000 US dollars, which is obviously much higher in Canadian. You just get a small 1 bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
So it's crazy out here. And the problem is all like built on like venture capital money, and it's all Ponzi scheme. The companies will not be making any money, and their valuations will be crazy. Like $1 million revenue. I was talking to someone like $1 million revenue, and then I think they raised money at 250 million valuation or something. Like they raised like 50, $80 million. I said, why do you need the money? They said like we are getting the money, so why not?
Yeah.
And they hire like people like head of kombucha, like like some
Yeah.
stupid people, like not thinking of like but this is real. And if we have to get back to economics, like basic thing, a business has to make money, and you make money. Yes, you can afford to have a loss for some time, but you can't buy like a dollar for a dollar and sell it for 95 cents and show your revenue at 95 cents.
So if you were in charge right now and if you're going to create a different economic plan for the next year or two, what would you do?
I think we'll go back to asset-based economics. Like you
Asset
can
base. Yeah.
asset like commodities. We can pick up any like if we think we are past like gold, we don't have enough gold to support economy. We may have to go in silver, platinum, or any kind of standard, but it has to be an asset-based. We can't just spend money out of thin air. This will basically hurt the system. It will buy you maybe a couple of more years, but ultimately it will hurt back, and it will hurt back more.
So asset back.
And it could be any asset, right? Like it has to be, but it has to be asset backed. And I think we should have a margin on the company that a company cannot go past a specific amount on stock exchange. Their P ratio has to be aligned. Like you cannot have a company trading at like 250x of their PE.
Well, I think what we're going to see more and more sideways IPOs as opposed to private IPOs coming in the future.
Certainly, that's also a possibility, but at the same time, like I'm very bullish on the other company called Long Term Stock Exchange, or similar like that, where you don't have to go public, like you don't have to like trade every day. Maybe have a valuation every 3 months or every 6 months, so companies don't have to do day-to-day things to keep the stock afloat.
Yeah.
Yes, it is fine, but like Apple trade. Okay, you want to buy Apple, you can only buy on 1st of April, right? Like something like that.
So what stock does that?
Now, there's a company that is pushing for this, so it's called.
Okay.
But I think this could measure like you should not be turn stock exchange into like a gambling house.
Well, it's the leverage plays that you have, the futures, and then it is the shorting. Like you see what Turkey did. Turkey stopped all short bets for a bit.
I think that makes sense. Like we should close down on shorting. Like I think that's one thing. But at the same time, I think companies. But again, the problem with that is like how much a government should control. Like 'cause that's like goes against the entire philosophy of libertarianism. Like we are adults, we should basically behave ourselves. But if everything we do is supported by government, then it also become a challenge because we don't want that too. But ultimately, I think as if we don't go back to like asset base, I think we are in big trouble. We are in big trouble. We are just like delaying the inevitable for a few more years.
Yeah. Well, I'm an optimist. I think things are going to be really rough though in the next year or two, and I think things will change. And human beings are quite adaptable, and I think technology is the X factor. Crypto can be one, and other things come out. I think this is also a good wake up call for a lot of people. I've been saying this for the last couple of years. Um, you know, you're from Toronto, you're from Pakistan, so Canadian American, and the property value in Toronto and in California, whether it's San Francisco or somewhere else, is ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
to start a family in Toronto, you as a household income have to be at least bring in like $150, $160.
Oh,
At
100%.
least.
100%.
And so look at this. You look at the average Canadian household income, it's about $60,000. You can't buy a house in Toronto.
No,
And then the whole idea of like, why the fuck would you stretch yourself so thin, put 5% on the house, mortgage is crazy, you have insurance on the mortgage, you miss one paycheck, you can't pay for your mortgage, you're stressed to the fucking gills. I think we're going to see an exodus, especially now with remote work becoming more of a accepted. People are like, why the fuck am I going to kill myself trying to buy property and live in a crazy city?
Yeah, but a lot of these emotions are like, people are greedy. They want to buy property so they can sell at a higher price too, because their friend bought a property and he sold property and he's traveling in a brand new car.
Yeah, but context is key, right? So when our parents' golden opportunity was property. When my parents bought property in Canada, the dollar was strong, buying power was strong.
Yeah.
The economy was much better back then. They didn't have any of this quantitative easing bullshit. And so the earnings ratio for the dollar to buy property made sense. And so people think, wait a second, if property can go 10x like that, maybe it's going to go 10x from here. I'm like, no, you really think that $1.5 million house is going to be $10.5 million in the future?
That's like buying Ripple at $3.
Yeah.
So obviously people think, if it done like 100x, why can't it do 10x more? Like, dude, it doesn't work this way.
It doesn't work that way, no. And especially when everyone's over leveraged, you're just going to lose your property. And this happened before. Like Canada had the 90s, United States had 2008.
Yeah.
And most people are over leveraged and they can't just hold their asset. It's simple as that. They'll lose it.
No, certainly. And if you look at even the stock exchange crash, I think we had 87 was the biggest crash. Then it was in 1927, which was way earlier. This is the third biggest crash in the history of stock exchange.
Yes.
So coming back to the point of like, what should an individual do? I think we should basically plan our life very, very, properly. Like, with no crazy spending. You can live without that Gucci bag. Like you should look into a number, and so you should at least have an idea what you're looking at. Because a lot of people believe they have money, but they don't have money. And the months pass by pretty quickly. Like this, think about this: we are already 3 months into the new year, and a lot of people had resolution that I'll do this thing this year, I'll do this thing, but we never did. People had to join gym, do works out, run like a couple of miles per day.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're still on their couches. So this is a time that requires extreme measures, and the best part is to write the numbers. Do your taxes, and see what you have accomplished in the last 2 years, and what do you want to do in next 2 years, and be realistic. This is not an ordinary time, and people think, it will come along, but this will be probably one of the most toughest times, because obviously we have a lot to lose. Like if you have like only $10 in pocket, you only lose $10, but now you have like $1,000 in your pocket, you can lose $1,000. And people nowadays are much more, how can I say, they're very comfortable in everything. Like, oh my God, like, we didn't find our favorite pasta. Oh my God, my life is destroyed. Right? We didn't get a new phone. People are so clumsy. I don't say you clumsy.
Listen, a lot of people have never experienced a lot of strife, especially North America and Western Europe. Except if you're an immigrant that escaped a certain country. We are the minority. You can understand. You come from Pakistan. You know how it is. My parents were Civil War and fucking country's third world. Fucking shit. And so a lot of people that escaped really bad situations, they understand. They went through much worse hardship. They went through fucking war. War. You know what I'm saying? And so over here in North America or Western Europe, they never really experienced any of that for the most part. At least my job. I'm talking about like.
No, nothing. Like you will get offended because someone talk in a specific way, dude. Like crazy. Like I'm offended. I'm scared because someone did this to me. Dude, people were getting killed on the street. Our last generation. We are too. I still want to find the word, but anyways, man. I want to be very politically correct when I say the word, so that's why I'm trying to not offend anyone, because like I said, like someone said, they thought they were cash wealthy, $250,000 doesn't buy any much now. Yeah, that's true, right?
Yeah.
Because, you look at, because the expense is maybe $20,000 per month. And yeah, so let's look at the comments. So human from the earth, I don't know, man, if it goes to like $5,000. If it goes to $5,000, dude, we have much more bigger trouble.
What, Bitcoin?
Yeah, no, DGI, like Dow
Oh.
Jones.
Yeah.
Someone said, like, it is.
No, I think, let me pull up right now. I think the Dow, at least the smart people that I've been talking to, so I'm just relaying their stuff, is a lot of smart people that I follow and respect. They're saying the Dow has a possibility, depending on the next 2-3 weeks, is very sensitive, but it does have a possibility of dropping down to, like, what do they say? Like something like under 16,000 points or something.
But $16,000 is very, very doable. Like right now we are at 20,000 points, right? So
Yeah.
$16,000 is pretty simple. It's just like 20% more, probably matter of 2-3 days.
Yeah.
I won't be surprised if, but moment we start dropping, like some people are calling for 10,000, which I think is far stretch, but to be anything can happen.
10,000.
Yeah,
10,000 would bring us back to the levels of 2010.
Yeah, but I think it took us like I think like 2 years to get back to the same point. I think we were at 16,000 at that time, and we dropped.
Well, look at this. 08. Let me pull off for everybody over here.
Yeah, let me pull that out here.
I'll pull it up. Let me get the good website for everybody here.
So we dropped from $14,000 to, I think, to 10,000.
That's not the website. Yeah, where the fuck is it? Here we go. Here we go, Market Watch. And then let's do all. Just pull up the good site over here so everyone can see this.
Yeah, can you share? Oh yeah, you can share screen.
I'm gonna share it. Yeah.
Sure.
There we go.
Yeah, that's right. Galina says that nothing happened. That's true, right? It wouldn't happen. So Arbor, I would disagree with that. We don't have a culture. We do have a culture, right? Like, people are so passionate. Like, trust me, when you start living in other countries,
yeah,
it's a beautiful country, man. I love Canada. So, and Lem, no, Amir is very energetic. Like, we have been talking apart from this too.
Look, there's 08.
Yeah.
And so it only took a year.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't that long. Like 1920s was bigger, but now, like we have items to pump our economy.
I know, but look at this. This is like the stock market's ridiculous, man. Like, look at this fucking pump from 08.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, where is it? Let me go.
Yeah,
it's all the way back here. Yeah, let me go max actually.
Yeah.
So here it is. Look at that fucking rise in the market from 08 compared to the gradual incline from 94, right? So here's a .com, right? Then here's all the big stocks like Amazon, all these guys killing it. Here's 08, but then look at that. Look at the QE, the stock buybacks.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. This is the longest 10-year bull run of all time.
Yeah, but like this was supposed to come. Like, they had all, like, if you look at all the crashes, we had one in 2002, like, market dipped, steady for a couple of years. But like, in 1980, the stock was only like 700 points.
Mm-hmm.
So like, we have bigger markets. Like, if you look at, we've spent more money. Our consumerism has increased a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Our parents didn't need to spend like this, what we do right now.
Mm-hmm.
So everything is increasing right now. We are actually, so I will not blame that. I think market has the potential to absorb all of these issues as long as we can find out the issue. Like, first of all, fix the hole. Like right now, there's water that's pouring out.
Yeah.
And yeah, so as Bruce said, plenty of quality to be held. Like, we have good company like Uber. Like in Uber, people will shit on Uber, but Uber is a good company. It solves a real problem. People take Uber every day. Yes, economics are not good, but economics can be good. So about the support at 17,000, I don't know, man. I never buy the support thing because obviously people say, support. And if these things were so simple, everyone would have money. But these things are not simple, right? People are get panic, and you don't know tomorrow stock exchange may go to 20% above. It may go to 20% down. If you know something, probably you'll be the richest person and not listening to us. You
Well, I
know,
know
like,
something. I just need to get myself a printing press. I don't need to make any investments or think. I just need a printing press.
yeah, I guess so. I think so. So
Of
like,
course,
your
I'm
point.
just going to become my own central bank, and I'm going to practice MMT theory. I'm going to
Yeah,
press a fucking button, and it's
yeah,
all digital. Everything is just poof out of thin air,
yeah,
and I'm good to go.
yeah. And all those people, as you mentioned, that stacks, like stack this, stack this. To be honest, you have always have to be diversified. You have to cash. Cash is
Yeah,
always king, but at the same time, you need to invest in like stocks. Like I said, I'm pretty much. I have a lot. I focus on crypto a lot, so I keep a lot of crypto, and it may go down to zero, but I'm prepared for that.
hmm
But at the same time, the biggest asset is like your own skills. Can you get back up if you are hit hard?
anti-fragility, man. I talk about this all the time.
Yeah. Are you willing to live on the street if it comes down to that, right? Are you
Yeah,
willing to give up on things? Like,
yeah.
as I said,
This is why I recommend people to be stoic. Practice some stoic philosophies. Think
yeah,
about minimalism. Think about being humble. But this
yeah,
is
yeah,
hard. It's
yeah.
hard
Yeah.
for most people.
Well, certainly, like, tough time doesn't last, but tough times do.
Yeah,
Sorry, tough time doesn't last forever, but tough people do. So, Stolik roads and obviously, ICO boom was similar to that too. Like we had a past, and
yeah,
people were raising money literally on anything, and they cashed out. So,
yeah.
but economics, like if you look at Bitcoin, didn't suffer a lot because Bitcoin has some bit of faith in it, some bit of rules around it, so it came
Mm-hmm.
back.
Mm-hmm.
It's an experiment, and I
Mm-hmm.
think this experiment will come down to either Bitcoin was born in 2008 because of
Mm-hmm.
and everything. This is the
That's right.
first recession that Bitcoin is facing right now. So we'll figure it out. But if Bitcoin didn't respond or people didn't believe in it, then experiment may have failed.
Yeah, I agree.
But I'm bullish on it.
Cool. I think we'll leave it at that, man. Haseeb, if people want to get a hold of you, what's the best resource? Website, Twitter, Facebook?
Uh, it's pretty simple. Like Haseeb, my username is Haseeb @ HASEEB. My website is haseebawan.com. My email is haseebawan.com too. Same, everything is Haseeb. Like I was lucky to get my own URL for everything.
Beautiful. Haseeb, always a pleasure, brother. I'll talk to you soon, man.
Bye bye.
Yeah, peace out.
Peace out.